Hello, Fragranceview here. Today we're going to be looking at an exciting new house. It's called Centauri Perfume by my good friend Peter at Fragranceview YouTube channel. It's so exciting to see how far he's come from starting his YouTube channel to now officially launching his own brand here. Before he even announced his brand, he did host a contest where you submit a brief and then he picks up your brief, or you win and then he selects your brief and creates a fragrance to that. And I was able to get mine selected and I got a fragrance made by him. So before he even announced his perfume brand, I was able to see or have a glimpse of what he's able to do, and I'm really excited to see what these ones have to offer to the fragrance community. So far with what I've tried, I'm really excited to share with you guys what I get out of it. Today we're going to be looking at one of the fragrances. Gaia is one that I'm still wearing. I'm still trying to get a consistent wear, like 2 days in a row before I come out with a review. But Dendera, I was able to do that, and now I get a consistent wear, so I'm ready to share my experience with this one. And it's going to be Dendera. Now I'm going to link to his video overview of his house. He does a fantastic job explaining the concept behind the house. Is pretty cool. And then the bottle design, custom made there, he did a fantastic job with that. So please check out his overview on his house to have a good idea of what the theme of the house is. Like I said, the name of the brand is called Centauri Perfume, and then their sample come in this beautiful black pouch here, beautiful logo up front there, and then inside you get your sample and a little card giving you an aperçu of the bottle. Beautiful design here. I'm going to put a larger image here, and then at the back you have the key ingredients attached to it. Today we're going to be looking at Dendera, which comes in the red bottle. So he has like 3 sublines, so categories. So the red bottles will define the past. In this case, Dendera is hinting at Egypt, and then you have the white bottles that are depicting the present, and then the blue bottles are focusing on the future. Focusing on Dendera today. Now this fragrance is one that is really complex, one that you should not judge the first time you're wearing it, and definitely not on paper. The first time I tried this one, because there are certain key, like really key elements in this fragrance, the other nuances that are there I kind of lost the first time you're trying it, because it's kind of an interesting fragrance, mysterious, kind of contemplative. So it's really easy to miss the nuances and then focus on the bolder note or the main notes that I get out of this fragrance. And then mainly is going to come off at you like oud. The oud is really prominent in the opening, but then the main player throughout is the myrrh. So without wearing it a couple of times, you're now going to get the complexity that it was able to wrap around that myrrh and other key elements. So that's why I waited so long before doing the review on this one, and I'm glad I did, because I was able over time to grab the nuances, and every time I wore it I actually really love it. Now I already have the dry down there, but I love the opening. So to remind me of the opening here, yeah, it's beautiful. Now there's a lot of things that are coming all at once, but it's in a smooth way. There's nothing jerking, knee jerking, or sticking out profusely here. So it's really well rounded. Now at the top, what I get out of this one is an oud. Now this is not going to be a barnyard oud. It's going to be more of a balsamic, woody, slightly fermented wood note attached to it, but not barnyard. You're definitely going to know that is oud, but it's not a stinky oud. Paired with that non-stinky oud, I get a warm feeling that is coming from frankincense, incense resin. Here is not sharp at all. It just adds this slightly smoked, slightly incensey, warm feel to the oud, almost like a burning oud without the smoky nuances attached to it. And on top of that, you also get light spices from cinnamon bark, but also nutmeg, that is adding a slightly fresh, slightly sweet, slightly woody tone to the fragrance. And then on top of that, I also get like a green nuance that is coming from I think it is vetiver, Haitian vetiver here, and it adds this slightly green woody tinge to the fragrance. So you're definitely going to get a slightly green nuance attached to this one. On top of that, you also get a wonderful myrrh accord that is prominent throughout the wearing the fragrance. And then what the myrrh does here, and the myrrh on its own is not something that is too loud, but it is a note that is really persistent, and then you get it throughout the wearing of this fragrance. Myrrh on its own smells slightly dusty, earthy, slightly sweet, but also medicinal, and it has woody undertone attached to it. So here you're gonna get that character throughout the wearing the fragrance, and then he uses quite a lot here, and I think it is tied to the fact that myrrh was used a lot in ancient Egypt as well, so that's why he's using it as the main note here, and then wrapping a lot of complexity around it. And I think the nuances that he added to the myrrh makes it non-boring and really interesting throughout the wearing of the fragrance. Now you get a lot of myrrh, you're gonna get the oud at the top, you're gonna get that warm feeling from the frankincense incense resins, you're gonna get light spices from that cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, and then you're gonna get a green tinge that is coming from the woody, slightly herbaceous vetiver. On top of that though, there's this kind of odd, because as it dries down, this fragrance becomes a little bit drier because of the myrrh accord, dusty, earthy. But then at the top, I also get this slightly wet, musty feel, and I think it's coming from the white ambergris that is using in this composition, and the contrast is beautiful against the myrrh in the opening. Now, in addition to the myrrh, though, that is giving you that dusty, earthy feel among the other facets out of the myrrh, there's also this earth butter accord that is adding a chalky, slightly earthy accord, and is giving that 3D effect to the myrrh here. It's not too prominent, but it's definitely there, and it adds to the earthy feel of the myrrh, and it gives you that beautiful scenery that I talked about, like dusty, old, ancient temple feel. In the note breakdown, there's rose absolute that is noted, and then there's also Indian sandalwood, but also Madagascar vanilla. Now the rose here, I think he's not using an accord that is typically the sweet rose. He's using rose absolute, so it's going to be an herbaceous rose here. I can definitely see that in the opening, but it's not something that stands out a lot to me, so don't be worried that this one is going to smell like a sweet rose. Is buried underneath the myrrh, and it helps a little bit. Then the vanilla, I don't get an overly sweet vanilla accord here or note. I think he uses a vanilla absolute, so here it's going to lend a little bit of sweetness to the myrrh, but it's not going to be prominent at all, so don't be worried about being overly sweet here. The main player is going to be around the myrrh, and then the facets that are warm, slightly herbal, slightly green and woody that are coming from the other elements here. And the oud is pretty prominent for the first hour or two, and like I said, it's not going to be like a skinky oud. It's going to be more of like a slightly fermented wood note, balsamic in nature, and it's really paired well with that myrrh accord. As it dries down though, you're gonna lose a little bit that oud, and then the main player is gonna be the myrrh. Like I said, it's gonna be medicinal, it's gonna be dusty, it's gonna be earthy, it's gonna be slightly sweet, and then resinous at the same time. A really beautiful note of myrrh used here. Now, for people that are not familiar with myrrh or do not like myrrh, this one might be too dominant in terms of myrrh, but if you know the connection to what he's trying to tie it to the ancient Egypt and then the use of myrrh there, you're going to understand why he's using a lot of myrrh here. So for people who love myrrh, this one might be a winner for you, so keep that in mind. Now as it dries down, like I said, the myrrh is going to be prominent, and it's going to have those slight nuances from the top there, and I'm talking 7-8 hours down the line, the myrrh is going to quiet down a little bit, and then you're going to get more of the labdanum, where you're going to get something that is ambery, something that is slightly sweet and resinous, and then musty at the same time, with the ambergris giving a little bit of shimmer to that as well, like that slightly animalic feel to it. That's pretty much what I get out of the fragrance. Beautiful fragrance, is really contemplative and then really meditative. It's something that is not easy to understand, but it's something that you can get used to easily and get addicted to easily. Now every time I wear fragrances or I test fragrances, I try to find a link or an association with personal experience, and I think Peter did a fantastic job here, because every time I wear Dendera, there's this specific picture that pops in my mind, and there's one picture that he shared a long time ago when he traveled to Egypt, and there's this picture here. Because of the warmth that I get out of the fragrance, the contemplative feel that I get out of this fragrance, it feels like walking through this picture here in the alley with the symbols on the walls there, having this inquisitive look on your face, contemplative or meditative feel, and then walking through that alley with the lit torches imparting a little bit of warmth while you walk through that. That's the sense that I get out of Dendera when I wear it, and then for me to be able to connect or have that picture pop in my mind every time I wear it, he did a fantastic job here. Now another association that I have with this fragrance is from a personal story. When I was young in my childhood, my mom was sent to a village, a Tuareg village, semi-nomad in the middle of the desert, and then sometime during the weekends, what they would do, they would organize a camel race. race. So people will gather under the shades of trees in the middle of desert sand dunes there, the sun hitting the sand dunes there. So you got this dusty, slightly earthy, warm feel emanating from the wind and then the sun. And then you watch the camel race, and at night the neighbors will gather around oil-lit lamps there and then tell stories. So that dusty, warm feel, mysterious, inquisitive, kind of captivating storytelling at night, and then the warmth that you get out of the oil lamps, but also during the day, that dusty, earthy feel from the wind and the sun while you're watching that fantastic camel race is reminding me a lot of Dendera, or I should say Dendera pulls that scent memory or that feel from me, and I think it is an achievement in itself that he was able to do that. So it goes without saying that this one is a winner in my book, and I have high marks for this one. So great job, Peter, for bringing us this one. It is something that I'll definitely pick up when it comes back in stock. It is already sold out. So in terms of performance, this one lasts a long time. Myrrh is a really good fixative, labdanum as well. So this one manages to stay a long time on my skin. I get between 10 and 12 hours of longevity, and then projection is really good for the first 2 to 3 hours, and after that you get beautiful wafts and it tapers down down the line. So pretty good performance on this one. In terms of occasions and situations where you can wear this one, like I said, this one is more of an artsy fragrance. It has wearability attached to it, but it's really specific. So for people, like I said, people who love myrrh, you might really enjoy this one. There's a lot of complexity again wrapped around this one, so it's not just myrrh. There are other elements that are playing off of the myrrh here. So if you love myrrh, you're going to enjoy this one. It's a kind of a serious and mysterious type of fragrance, so you have to keep that in mind. In terms of seasonality, I say this one is geared towards colder seasons. I'm not sure how it's going to perform during hot summer days, but I would say colder seasons. And then for situations where you can wear this one, if you want something that is stand out and is going to set you apart from the crowd there, definitely give this one a try. If you've tried Dendera, please let me know what you think of it. My next review is going to be Gaia, and I'm going to wear it a couple of more days and then to kind of see what I get, and if I get a consistent wear for 2 days in a row, I'll be ready to do the review here. So really excited to come back with a review on Gaia here. So again, thank you for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and then take care. Bye.